Yo, David Benavidez calls out Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant just fought last night, dominated his performance. We're going to talk about all that and more. Caleb Plant versus Benavidez, great fight. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. Let's jump right into it. Caleb Plant just fought last night against Caleb Truax. I watched the fight. I did a quick Boxing Ego watch party. And I thought Caleb Plant looked well. He looked sharp. Defense looked on point. You know, there was a couple spots where he got hit with some right hands. And, I mean, it's a fight. You know, it's 12 rounds of action in a championship fight. He defended his belt successfully. And he didn't look marked up or beat up. And it looked like he was in total control of the fight. You know what I'm saying? There was never any moments that kind of got away from him where it looked like Caleb Plant was about to go down or hurt. You know, it was one-way traffic. Now, this is good because during the pandemic, a lot of fighters couldn't fight, you know, and Caleb Plant didn't have any fights. So there was no real visible signs of ring rust. And that's what I'd like to see. Now, you guys see on the screen, David Benavidez obviously was intently probably paying attention and watching the fight. And he calls out Caleb Plant. He said he wants to make the fight happen this year. I want to give my thoughts, but let me first get to what he said in this. It says, can we make this fight happen 2021, or are you going to keep hiding like a little bit? And he put, that's funny. And then he put the crying emoji, and then he tagged him at Caleb Plant. Let's give the fight fans what they want to see, or the fans what they want to see. Same difference. My thoughts? Man, I love it. I love it. This is a great fight. Listen, the bottom line is Canelo Alvarez, he's kind of playing around, and the WBC is doing anything. They should have gave the opportunity to David Benavidez. I understand he missed weight, but he should have been ranked higher than Avni Yildirim. That should really be Canelo's mandatory. But the politics, Canelo makes money for the sport, so you know how that goes. So that being said, this is, I would say, the best fight that could be made without Canelo. You see what I'm saying? Like, Canelo versus Caleb Plant is a big fight. David Benavidez versus Canelo is a big fight. So if we're excluding Canelo, I think this is the biggest fight like that can be made without Canelo at 168. This has been a beef that's been brewing. There was also something in a gym, a video that leaked, and it looked like you know, some altercation broke out in front of the gym and stuff, or in the gym. Things like that. So this has been brewing. It's a great fight. Benavidez looks real focused. If you look at his recent videos, he looks focused. He's in Big Bear training and getting that work. That's good. Change of scenery. He's from Arizona. You get the way, you know, see, the thing is, fighters got to understand this. A lot of times when you train at home, that could be the worst, because once you start making it, first of all, you made some money. So you made hundreds of thousands or millions or whatever, depending on your level of fighter. And people have access to you. Boxing is a lonely sport, because at the end of the day, nobody else, you know, if you have celebrity friends, rap friends, or musician friends, or, you know, a magician friend, whoever, there's nobody that has to have, per their job code, the same type of discipline that boxers have to have. You see what I'm saying? So it's almost a different lifestyle. They want to go out. Oh, we're going out to the bar. Oh, we're going out and doing this. And if you're on top of your game, those are probably things that you should limit or not do as a boxer. So boxing is the loneliest sport, because you really have to kind of self-isolate and be around people who want to see you win, and people who aren't enablers, and people who don't have access to you that shouldn't have access to you. So you almost, it's like prison. You got to be in solitary confinement. You know, when a prisoner gets thrown in the hole for acting up or stabbing the guard or stabbing the person, you know what I'm saying? That's how boxing is. So I think this is good for Benavidez, just to being out the way and being in a place like Big Bear. That's been a historic place where boxers, Shane Mosley, Triple G, you know, Oscar De La Hoya, they all went, because there's nothing else to do. There's some nice, I'm sure, scenery. I actually never been out to Big Bear, but I'm sure there's nice scenery and stuff like that. But outside of that, it's a kind of a smaller community. and you got to just go out there and focus and work. And then you got the altitude, which will help your lungs and stuff like that. So I'm a big fan of David Benavidez as well as Caleb Plant. I know Caleb Plant personally. I don't really know David Benavidez. I've talked to him, I've interviewed him and stuff, but I don't know him like on more of a personal tip like Caleb Plant. It's a great fight, man. Hopefully PBC gets this done this year. I don't know what the situation with crowds and stuff like that, but to me, since Canelo, he's fighting Avni Yildirim, and they said he's agreed to fight Billy Joe Saunders. So Billy Joe Saunders, that's cool. Caleb Plant may be in the running to, this is just my personal opinion. I think Canelo would rather fight Caleb Plant. I don't think he's chomping at the bit to fight Caleb Plant, henceforth why he's going through Avni Yildirim and likely Billy Joe Saunders. He would rather fight those European fighters, like from Eastern Bloc European, British fighters, guys from Turkey. He'd rather fight somebody that's very limited in skill than more of an American style or a Mexican-American style in David Benavidez. But I think stylistically, if Canelo had to pick between Caleb Plant and Benavidez, I personally think he would rather go Caleb Plant instead of like a David Benavidez, Demetrius Andrade, or even a Jamal Charlo. That's just my personal opinion because styles make fights. And I think Canelo, he would have different things to worry about with different guys, and that's just what it is. But I do like Caleb Plant and David Benavidez. I think it's a hell of a fight. The only downside is Caleb Plant, his name was linked to fight against Canelo before. So do you wait it out and see if you can get the Canelo fight in December or something? Or do you go ahead and make the David Benavidez fight? Because obviously you'll make more money and everybody wants to fight a guy like Canelo who's considered at top pound for pound and stuff like that. So either way, it's going to be a tough fight. Canelo's a tough fight. Benavidez is a tough fight. So that's the only thing that could create issue is if Caleb Plant is feeling or has had preliminary talks, like his manager, Luis de Cuba Jr., or Al Heyman or something. If they've had preliminary talks and if they give him the inkling that he may get Canelo, then are you going to take such a dangerous fight like a David Benavidez and wait for Canelo and hope he beats Billy Joe Saunders, looks good, and beats, I think he will beat Yildirim pretty handily, but those are the decisions. But if that isn't something that's coming into play, I love to see the fight. David Benavidez, very menacing. He only looks to be getting better, young, strong. I think he would be probably a little bit taller, a little bit bigger than Caleb Plant. He's had some discipline issues, but he's looking to work that out. Caleb Plant, he doesn't really have discipline issues. He's in shape. He can move his legs, his defense. I think he has the tighter defense. It's just a great stylistic clash. Anytime you have these two styles and just the bravado of both guys, they both have taken little barbs and jabs at each other in the public in recent years. So all in all and ultimately, I think the fight, the tension from the fight, since they don't really seem to like each other, would carry the fight. And I know Benavidez's pops, Jose Benavidez, he's been calling for the fight and calling like Caleb Plant names and stuff like that. So all in all, we'll see. Hopefully PBC gets it done. I have no problem, no dispute. I think you could put this somewhere big. You could put this in Vegas, Texas, or it just depends on what's happening with the pandemic. But either way, I'm locked in if they fight because I've been wanting to see this fight for a couple years now. So let me know who would win. Oh, let me talk about this real quick. There's a lot of people hating on Caleb Plant though. They were saying, I heard some people saying Caleb Plant looked horrible, and I don't know what you guys are watching. I was watching it live. He looked sharp. He looked good. The thing is, there's different people who have different levels of power and stuff like that. You're not going to knock everybody out. Some guys are just durable. Some guys are tough. But I didn't see anything wrong with Caleb Plant's performance. He was snapping and spazzing on Caleb Truax, peppered his face, bloodied his face, and there's a lot of people just hating. Like, to be honest, the fight looked pretty similar to Canelo versus Caleb Smith. It was a one-way traffic. Once I gave Caleb Plant every round. I gave Canelo versus Caleb Smith every round. You know, both of their opponents' faces was looking busted up. They're both, you know, champions or former champions. It just, all in all, it was just one-way traffic. So I don't understand why I was reading on. That's why I just stay out the way, do my boxing videos, and keep it pushing. Some of y'all don't know ish about boxing, bro. Roger Mayweather was so right. You know, people were saying he looked terrible and stuff. Like, there's a difference between saying the fight is boring, even if you feel that way, like feel the fight was boring, but to say he looked terrible, like, it's just, what is looking terrible to you? You know what I'm saying? I feel like James DeGale versus Caleb Truax, like, he looked bad in the first fight, stuff like that, you know? So I don't know what people's expectations are. You're not going to knock everybody out. He was styling on the boy, did what he wanted. He was winning. You know, Truax, he got heart. The only person I think that did stop him was Daniel Jacobs. And Daniel Jacobs is a hell of a fighter and former champion, and he has a certain level of power. So, you know, and this was before Truax got some of the experience that he has now. Listen, at the end of the day, some guys just know how to survive. So, you know, people got to chill with the expectations of always getting a knockout. You know, styles make fights. Like, yeah, if David Benavidez fought Caleb Truax, he would probably get the knockout because he has a lot of power and he's going to throw a lot of punches. So styles make fights. But you could say the same thing, like, if you're watching the Angulo fight back in the day or Edeslandi Lara fight, Edeslandi Lara might chop up the man and beat him up and hurt him and stuff. He might not necessarily knock him out, but Angulo, based on having more dense punches, he might be able to knock him out just by letting his hands go. So, you know, styles make fights. That's what it is. But stylistically, David Benavidez and Caleb Plant is a great fight. And I think the two styles and the personalities of not caring for each other would mesh well. At the end of the day, beat the man. You know, if you think Caleb Plant you think it's sweet hands is sweet, then beat him. You know, that's how I feel. So I don't see what people were allegedly complaining about. I think people at the end of the day in boxing, they pick their sides, they pick their favorites, and they just run with it. I thought Caleb looked very spicy, you know what I mean? Especially early in the fight. Picking off his shots at will, looked very lax, very comfortable, composed. You know, not everyone's going to get a knockout. It like really, if you, like I said, Canelo versus Caleb Smith, what is the real difference? So because people are going to act like they rate Caleb Smith because he's seven inches taller than Canelo, he's supposed to be more of a threat. Bro, height doesn't have nothing to do with heart. I'm going to say it again. Height ain't got nothing to do with heart. You could be tall. That don't mean you got heart. You know, you could be small and have more heart than the dude who's 6'7". You know what I'm saying? So Caleb Smith, he laid an egg. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not taking away from Canelo's skills, but he literally did nothing and let Canelo pummel him and break his arms or whatever was wrong with his arms and stuff. Caleb Truax was overmatched, but he was at least still trying and stuff. Caleb Truax fought more like a champion. He nailed Caleb Plant with some big right hands towards the end. He was still aggressively trying and stuff like that. So I don't even really see the big difference. Canelo, a lot of his fights, if we're being real and being realistic, a lot of his fights don't have knockdowns or knockouts either. You know, in recent memory, the Kovalev fight to me looked FAF. I've already went over that. But there were no knockouts or knockdowns in the Caleb Smith fight, and he was coming off a poor performance with John Ryder. What are we talking about? You know, the Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., he was looked like a punching bag, and there were no knockdowns or knockouts in that fight. You know, did you hear all these cries of boredom when Canelo fought Chavez Jr.? I thought that was a miserable fight because for some reason I expected it to just have more action, just some type of action, you know? So it is what it is. David Benavidez, Caleb Plant, let's go. Make it happen. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more sports. Get unlimited access to premium content with an ESPN Plus subscription. ESPN Plus offers a variety of content, including specials, behind the scenes, docuseries like Bruce Lee's, Be Water, and much more. With an ESPN Plus subscription, you get access to a ton of classic archive fights and replays from boxing and the UFC. Big names like, "Hi, I'm Mike Tyson. Come and watch my fight." Floyd Mayweather, "Easy work. I'm rich." And Manny Pacquiao, "Yes, it's up to my promoter. Just to name a few. If that's not enough, you could get the ESPN bundle, which includes ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus. All 3 apps, one low price. You don't want to miss out. Make sure you guys click that link in the description box of all of my videos. Ego, signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.